we're getting a lot of reaction to this story with Trump announcing that he's implementing a 100% tariff on all movies made outside of the United States. With more on today's news, I want to bring in James Nadler, the incoming chair of the RTA School of Media at Toronto Metropolitan University. Thank you so much for joining us, James.
Thank you for having me. So it's actually been a very tumultuous day because the U.S. administration keeps walking back and forth in terms of whether they're going to set up these tariffs or not. But 100% tariff on movies made outside of the United States would have a major impact on the Canadian film and television industry.
And I'm curious, given the fact that so many students that graduate from this program at TMU, they're going to go off and work in film and TV. Let's talk about the impacts that it could have on their career, but over the overall industry as a whole.
Okay, so on Thursday, I was down at Pinewood Studios, and there's the Star Trek stage, and there were Klingons and Starfleet officers walking around. And the uncertainty that the tariffs have placed on the industry means that Paramount, when they're deciding whether or not they're going to film in Toronto, whether it's a feature film or a series, they're going to wait. They're not going to make that decision quickly, or they may decide to repatriate some of that production to Los Angeles in the United States, which means that those entry-level jobs for my graduating students are not going to be there. And it's not just the students who graduate this year; it's the people who are building their careers, who are working as actors and as grips and electrics and makeup artists and junior producers. It's the volume of work that is created by those American productions that come up here to Toronto, to Montreal, to Vancouver, that really fuels our industry, builds the infrastructure, and provides jobs and career opportunities for folks who live here.
Reasons why a lot of these productions end up here in Canada, it's not just because of the tax incentives, it's because of the talent pool that we have here in Canada. I was wondering if you can kind of elaborate the high-level talent that we have. You talked about a number of those positions. Talk a little bit more about how valuable the Canadian talent is to these American productions.
Well, it's the Canadian talent is also less expensive than the American talent. In that they're paid in Canadian dollars. But the quality of our crews, the quality of our post-production facilities, our special effects is probably up there with anyone in the world, and certainly on par with Los Angeles or Atlanta. And for example, most of the Marvel movies that get made, they're special effects, their CGI, are done in Quebec. So a film might be shot, an Avengers might be shot in the UK, then our post-production, our VFX artists work on it in Quebec and in Ontario, and then it gets delivered to the United States. So we have the talent, we have the pool of actors. If you watch any film that's shot here, you start to recognize all the great Canadian actors, the Bruce Greenwoods, the Kiefer Sutherlands, and so on, that are working here or somewhat working here, and we bring a lot to the table, and we are in terms of directors as well, especially in television. A lot of the episodes of Game of Thrones were directed by Canadians.
It seems a bit of a bureaucratic mess and very complicated to try and dissect, what part of this film is just American, considering you might have an American writer shooting an American story in Canada with European actors, and maybe, in the post-production, it goes off to Europe. It just, on the surface of things, it sounds very complicated.
And it's complicated in another way because it's not a car, it's not a good. Mm-hmm. It's intellectual property. So what is actually coming back to the United States? It's the right to show the movie. So that's a license fee. So how do you tariff that? Like, what do you? It's not like a toy where you can say, well, the toy is $1. It's now going to be $2. It's you're not going to say, oh, for every $15 that someone pays a movie ticket, they're going to pay another $15 because that's not the cost. The cost is the cost of making it and the cost of licensing it. And they're two different things, very hard to track. Hollywood is known for their creative accounting. So I don't know how the IRS in the States would be able to track this anyways, because they'll be able to find ways of reducing the value of the film before it crosses the border so that the tariff will be lower anyways. But if there is a project where they're thinking, are we going to do it in Toronto or are we going to do it in Los Angeles, that's the immediate decision. And the uncertainty, even from last night, the uncertainty of how this is going to work means that decisions are not going to be made, and then that's going to hurt everybody, not just here in Toronto, but also in Los Angeles.
James Nadler, incoming chair of the RTA School of Media at TMU. We appreciate your time and perspective on this. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.